and welcome to the Booze Book Baedeker. Woo! We have a special guest today, Lucy. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you. Thank you both for having
Great
me.
book recommendation as well.
So if you're tuning in, we hope that you have read The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. It is Le Guin, right?
Le Guin,
Le
yes.
Guin, Le Guin.
Yes.
You know, because you don't hear it, you just read it, and you're like, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right in my brain, along with all this vocab from the Gethin planet.
It took me far too long to find the book in Barnes & Noble.
Did it
So,
really?
like, is it a G or no? I don't know.
Oh, because their middle initial?
Basically, I don't
Oh
know
no,
the
because of the
alphabet.
L.
Yeah.
No, because their middle initial's K.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
I have something to say about though.
Okay.
What you just mentioned. I personally like to be able to like make up whatever I think that word or name should sound like, and then when I hear other people say that's not the same, I get really mad.
Yeah, like throw your sour beer down on the floor.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
It's okay if you do though. You're in a safe environment.
Okay, good.
So how do you
We have
pronounce
dogs.
the protagonist's name? Are we talking soft or hard G?
I did a hard G.
We did a
We did
soft
soft.
G.
Sounds like you were reading the right
But
hand
you're like,
of darkness.
I'm like, get me.
Yeah, that just...
And did you say I or A?
I did
I
I.
said I.
I? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have common ground on I.
What about Estraven? Did you say Estraven?
Do you mean Estran?
I said estrogen. And I kept saying estrogen. I was like, estrogen?
So we are drinking a variety of sour beers because sour beer keeps coming up, right?
Winter.
I mean, there's life water, but I had a hard time finding life water, so. So far, this one's our favorite. We're Minnesota people, and this one comes from New Ulm, so I don't think it's a coincidence that we love this New Ulm Black Forest Cherry Sour Ale. This is second place, and I'm just talking for myself. I don't know about you, your preferences, but this was second place. I love this.
Beer's beer.
Also,
That's what I say.
he's not,
And he's not drinking any of it.
I was drinking whiskey.
Where's the monk? Okay, so we had someone on our Facebook page say, "Oh, sorry, I'm being a bad hostess."
I need some of this.
say
book.
say that this beer, because this is the one we put on Facebook and said, okay, we're pairing it with the sour ale, and this is the one we picked.
Okay.
But then someone pointed out that I pair Monk's Cafe with, and she said Chronicle for Leibowitz, but we think she meant Canticle for Leibowitz, and by Walter Miller Jr., because there's monks in it. I don't know, I haven't read it, but I think we should read it maybe next
Canticle?
fall.
That's a Forgotten Realms book.
So, see this guy right here?
R.A. Salvador.
Oh, so we
What you know
agree
about
with you
fantasy?
completely, and this will be back when we read that book. Trisha Hudson, shout out!
That being said,
Oh,
I feel like there's some monks in this book too. The Fastnesses.
Definitely some monks.
Fastness.
Oh,
It's
you're
kind of like a
right.
monk type.
You're right.
Sitch.
You're talking about all the foretelling
Yeah,
stuff?
the foretellers.
They're kind of monkish.
That stuff was crazy.
Secluded.
How do you go on your mission? How do you continue on your mission when you know that your mission's already going to be completed? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of it's a
sounds fun.
mind bender is what it is.
It is.
He's like, great, my work's done here. Oh wait, no it's not. What? And then your mind just starts smoking.
Well, he kept it pretty open. He said 5 years.
yep.
So it's like, well, it could have been him. It could be a different Ecumen ambassador, an envoy.
That's true, that's true. You make a very good point. Well, let's dive into our 12-step program. And for those of you who don't know, what we do is we condense the book down into 12 steps so that if you want to tune out, you can.
Yeah, exactly. Just give us a like and a follow.
So,
That's all we ask.
step 1, have a mission to bring the planet of Gethin into a space collaborative called the Ecumen. Or if you're Lucy, you call it the... No, we all said Ecumen.
yeah.
No, that one we agreed on.
That's estrogen.
Ecumen.
Did you want to do your chili, Joe?
Oh yeah, I put a little Ecumen in my chili. That's all I got.
Step
That's a
2.
humdinger.
Step 2, go to a parade and mistakenly think that your biggest ally is selling you out.
That's a downer.
That
is a
parade
downer.
is not so fun.
No. Step 3, talk with the king of Carhide who fears change.
That was a jerk.
He was
What a
multifaceted.
conservative.
He
He was
Yeah.
crazy. He was a crazy person.
was he crazy? I just
was
thought he
crazy.
didn't want to change, and that is something you see in people a lot. Did you think he was just straight up crazy?
I think he was straight up crazy, but yes, the fearing change thing is also.
Okay. Step 4, go to the foretellers and discover your mission will be successful. See, right here is like, okay, we can have the book. Yay! That's not really what happened. Step 5, leave Carhide and go to, now how'd you pronounce this?
Oregon.
Oregon? I said Oregon.
I said Orgorin.
Oregon. Oh my gosh.
It's like Oregon, Oregon.
Yeah.
I think Ursula K. Le
it's
Guin
not.
should let us know. I think she should just give us a jingle and let us know, so we can set the record
Absolutely.
straight.
They just talk about that in the back of the book. Do they have pronunciations? No. They just talk about the clock and the calendar and all that jazz. Okay, never mind.
Step 6, talk with Oregon, or now I'm gonna,
Whatever you want.
Oregon Bigwig. Step 7, get kidnapped. Step 8, get rescued.
Solid follow-up.
Wow, that bottle just moved on its own. Here's Poltergeist.
Mind powers.
Step 9, death-defying sledge ride across Gobrin ice. That was intense.
My favorite part of the book.
Really?
That whole journey. Dang. Kind of describes what I went through this morning to get here. But not really.
It took
No,
you 81
not really.
days?
I was imagining that I was them, and instead of a sledge, I was on my bike. It was pouring rain, like 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
You're a
Hurricane season.
survivor, just like these guys.
I am.
Well, I mean, you know.
Although I didn't bring water or food, all I brought was beer. But
Which
There's
is more
sustenance.
practical.
There's sustenance there.
It's more practical. Step 10, make contact with your spaceship. That's pretty key. That's pivotal. And it only took up like half a page of text.
it was pretty minor. A very minor scene for such a huge deal.
Yeah.
What was that? Do you remember the name of the device that he was showing everybody to communicate with the ship?
The Ansible.
The Ansible.
Yeah,
Which appears to have been adapted by other writers.
Oh,
Really?
thieves! Literary thieves!
She had a good idea. I'm like, why would I change that?
Should have trademarked it.
Step 11, Estevan's suicide, but don't say that, it's unkind. You shouldn't say that about your friends.
That's true.
Step 12, end on a happy note, telling your friends Camarine stories of your ice adventure and space stories.
It's just waxing poetic.
I couldn't actually read my writing, so I had to remember what I meant.
I thought that said killing your friends.
It's been
Did we
told.
read the same book?
It does look like killing. I got confused too because I was like, killing. Telling.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucy, favorite part of the book. But you can't say the ice crossing because you already said that.
Okay, so my other favorite part of the book.
Looks like you have about 20 favorite books.
Okay, so here, what do I have? I've got 1, 2,
Oh,
3,
okay.
4, and a page of notes. And what do you have? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 29.
Not only that, but then I also have sections of the book highlighted or underlined or bracketed with orange. I did all the pink stuff this morning.
So would you say you enjoyed this book?
You know, I'm still on the fence.
Were you looking up on the Google? Are you looking something up on the Google?
I also have notes
She
on my
Googles it.
Oh, nice.
I also really like to see, okay, I'm the kind of person who I really enjoy when major characters in the books go through really challenging, drippy,
Yeah.
sad
See?
puddles of...
Sorry about that.
But they
We
always
record
come
this
out
show
of it.
live.
They always come out.
I like it when the main characters go through a really crazy hard challenge, like where they almost die or their souls are almost demolished. I don't know, something crazy, and then they come through it. So I really like the scene of them going through the cold, bitter ice plateau and all that jazz. But I also really like the scenes where he's in the concentration camp, essentially. What do they call it? The volunteer? I don't know.
Yeah, the workhouse,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's this one passage where Esteban's like, it's a jail. There's no getting around it. You know, he's like, he doesn't try to dance around things at all. He's like, it's a jail. End of story. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was weird. It's like, why are you being all forthcoming?
Can you dance around it a little bit more?
Where's your Schiffbreather? Am I even saying that right?
Shit.
I say Schiffbreather
Schiffbreather.
just because I like Thor.
Right? With the hammer?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
Schiffbreather.
hammer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like sour beer.
It is actually really good.
So they put something in sour beer. I forget what it's called. It's like
blankets.
lactobacillus or something like that. Like, there's a couple different things they put in it, but I think that's like the big one. And you just don't know what's
Bacteria.
You just don't know what's going to happen because these are all sour beers, but they all taste very, very, very differently.
So what makes it so hard to make? That's what I don't get.
Because it's so random.
Is it
You
very
don't know what's
temperature
going to
specific?
happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this applies to a lot of liquor, or a lot of beer, but, I mean, it's active cultures. And you have to make sure that you're feeding them, but not too much, not too little. It's like that happy balance to get the best tasting beer.
You have to love your beer.
I don't understand how beer works. That's what I learned
That's okay. We'll focus on the books.
Feel free to correct me.
today.
Also, sorry, going off on a tangent, but we had a lot of people say, oh man, I love the Left-Handed Darkness. I love the Left-Handed Darkness. But her best book
Uh-oh.
is The Dispossessed.
Got some one-uppers on the Facebook?
So, so extracurricular reading, The Dispossessed.
I've also read that one.
Oh, have you? Okay, well don't tell me because I'm
Better
only
or
like right
worse?
there.
So I think this is where I would say that I'm the kind of person where if I read a book by a certain author and I really like the way that that author tells stories, I'm probably going to love the first book that I read by them more than any other book.
Because that's your
that
first.
that was my introduction to them, and it has like a special place in my heart. So I read The Dispossessed second, still enjoyed it, but I did not like it as much as The Left Hand of Darkness. But I think it's because of the order I read it in.
Fair, yeah.
I've also heard that the Earthsea series is amazing and people should read it, and I have not done that. So tell me why I should.
Exactly.
So what was your
What's
first
this?
sour beer?
First sour beer?
Okay, so it
Miller
doesn't work
Lite.
that way, else you'd know it was your favorite, right?
Well, honestly, I think my first sour beer was brewed by my good friend Brian Schanzenbach, who owns Blacklist Brewery in Duluth, Minnesota.
Oh, shameless!
Plug it.
Blacklist Brewery. B-L-A-C-K. And it was delicious and amazing, and he makes amazing beers, specializing in Belgians with all kinds of crazy stuff in it. It's good.
It's a hell of a yelp.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about T-Bay. T-Bay.
I thought you said teabag.
I heard teabag.
Let's not talk about T-Bay. Let's not do that.
I said teabag.
That is not, this is not that kind of show.
We both heard it. I don't know what that says about us.
Well, first of all, when you're reading the book, T-I-B-E, how did you say it in your head?
I said like teeb.
I said teeb too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go with Teeb. So,
Teabag.
so he's the king's cousin,
Futuristic type.
and he kind of elbows out Esteban. And then Esteban gets exiled, and he gets a 3-day, what do they call it? A 3-day, hang on, it's not pass,
Head
but
start.
yeah. Get the hell out of town. That was hard, and then people were making it hard for him to get off of Carhide so that it would be okay to kill him. It's all very sad. And this is when we're introduced to the concept of Doth strength.
I really like that.
Doth
I really,
strength.
really
Doth
like that.
strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of things in this book, well, a lot of things. 2 things in this book would not have been possible if not for Doth strength, and that was pushing off they weren't 4A guns, they were like on stun or something like that. Do you remember?
Yes.
Should we just call them stun guns?
Stun guns.
I think
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
There was 4A guns and the other guns.
because the 4A guns would
Guns.
kill you, but the stun guns would not. But you still needed your Doth strength to kind of get out of harm's way once you had been stunned. Because once
Right.
you had been stunned, you were like out of there. So he needed his Doth strength for that, and so we should just let everyone know what Doth strength is in case they're cheating. And it's just you get ultra strong, but then afterwards you're completely wiped.
Right.
You're just like completely wiped.
Mhm.
Useless.
Mm-hmm.
Impotent.
Yup.
Draining that brain.
I was stifling a burp.
And then Estrogen uses dose strength again to get Genly out of jail.
I don't know why I'm so
Did you
excited
say
to point this
estrogen?
out.
Let's take a foray into. Never mind.
They use
That's
stun
just-
guns in both scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar.
Remember, he shoots Genly with a stun gun to just completely.
Oh, so you wouldn't even have to explain
So he's
things
just
to
like
him.
dead weight.
Yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm. So we could pass him off as dead to get him out of the camp.
Yeah. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the drugs were making, okay, I'll just say it, Genly, you win. The drugs, they gave the jail, they gave the prisoners, hormone drugs so they wouldn't go into Kemmer, and it was having a very toxic effect on Genly. Like, he was gonna die.
I think that could. Let me put it this way. I don't think the anti-Kemmer drugs were what was really taxing on his system. I think is when they were doing the torture, mind control drugs or whatever they were doing when they were trying to break him, essentially.
Yeah, didn't they give him like some kind of truth serum or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was in those scenarios where it was really affecting the body.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
How'd you get introduced to it?
I was in a different book club that was strictly reading sci-fi. But really interesting. It was a queer sci-fi book club, so I won't talk about more about that, but you might want to look into it. It's really interesting.
Oh, I suppose because there's gender themes in here.
Exactly.
Because
A
everyone's
lot of gender themes.
Yeah. everyone's androgynous until they're in Kemmer, and then they're all like, woo, woo, woo. Where's my Kemmer house?
Where's my camera at?
Where am I?
And I shall what a vow Kemmer with you, and yeah, it's very sweet.
Unless you're a sibling, then I cannot vow Kemmer with you.
You can, but then you can only do it
It's legit
until you
there.
have a kid.
No, that's not what it said. No, it said you could.
Uh-oh.
It said you could with your sibling, but you could not vow Kemmer. And if there was procreation, then you're done.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay.
At least that's what I read. What'd you read, Josh?
I agree with Christina on this one.
Okay. No, I don't go with that. 2 against 1. Okay.
If we're wrong, just let us know.
No, give us this
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and then poor Genly, everyone was turning into a woman in front of him, and by everyone I mean 2 people. One, the person in the van when he got kidnapped, and then Esterman. And he did not pick up on what that meant.
I'm sorry.
Genly is just dense.
Yeah.
He's
I would
not,
agree.
I have to say, I'm not gonna totally relieve him of all blame, but he was going through a lot at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
He
true.
probably wasn't even thinking about the cycle of the moon and all that. That actually was a super intense scene for me. Like the first time I read that, the second time it wasn't as impactful, but the first time I read that scene, I was like, oh yeah, that's gotta be intense.
They're in a tent together. They're in a very small tent together, and one's just like, "Don't touch me! Don't do it!"
No direct eye contact. Think about the time you have been the most aroused in your life. And imagine that Just imagine that. Okay, anyways. Moving on. I've made everyone.
No, you put everyone
Okay.
deep in thought is what
Okay,
you've done.
Alright. Flashbacks.
Yeah, nothing pops up. No.
Pops up? Nothing pops
So I
up?
was just like, yeah.
Did you just say that? Nothing
did.
pops
That's wordplay.
up? Not to be confused with foreplay.
Oh my word.
So that happened. Okay.
So I want to hear what your guys' favorite parts of the book were.
Ooh. I don't know. I mean, this whole book was amazing. See, I'm gonna steal yours.
God
I'm.
damn it! I
friendly show.
I apologize for my strong speech. I don't want to offend anyone. I take it back.
No, it's okay if you offend people.
By the milk of Meshi!
You know, I really did like the little like cultural stories they threw in. Like there was the one about the two Camarine, and one went to the foreteller and asked when was I gonna die, and then the other one knew that his Camarine was so upset that he didn't get the right answer that he did everything he could to go back, and then he goes back and he gets more information and he's like, "You fool! You didn't ask the right question." And he kills him, and then he kills himself, and it's like, wow, that was a downer.
But those are the legends!
And that was the thing, you know, it wasn't from Esteban's point of view, and it wasn't from Genly's point of view. It was this, you know, it was like, I don't want to say Jack and Jill, but it was, you know, it was a fairy tale, not a fairy tale, but you know, it was
a legend.
It was a legend. It was a legend.
That's just like passed down from generation to generation. Many cultures have similar stories, different names, slightly different scenarios. Cool stuff.
So I did appreciate that. At the beginning of the book, it was very confusing for me. Okay, first of all, you didn't know what Camarine was, you didn't know what Shift-Grether was, and all this stuff was happening, so you really weren't even sure what was happening, and then to throw in the fact that, okay, this chapter is from one person's point of view, and this chapter is from another person's point of view, and now this one's a legend. That, after having read the whole book, then going back and skipping through the book, then everything really gelled, but I don't think you can really just go through the book the first time and be like, oh, I totally get what's going on here.
Well, there's a lot going on. So. But yeah, you warned me through text message, like, once you get past the first 2 chapters, you'll be fine. You know?
Yeah.
So.
It's true.
You're just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah.
But I think that's the beauty of storytelling in a world that is not your own, that is very foreign, is that you don't want to bog down the story with so much description.
Yeah.
That you can't still move the story along. So I think she was good at that. I think, yeah, that first chapter is kind of hard. The concepts aren't so foreign. Like, we know what a king is. We know what a cornerstone is. We know, like, that kind of stuff. We live in a super cold part of the country where we get it, where you're bundled up, and then all of a sudden the sun comes out, and suddenly you're sweating like crazy, even though it's like negative 20.
Yeah.
But we don't have doors like 10 feet up, so that's a bummer.
Thanks for that, John.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I try to be an optimist, but sometimes pessimism kicks in.
You're a realist.
We had one person comment on the book, and she wrote a little bit. So I appreciated this one a lot. This was from Becky Morris, referring to the book.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky. One of my all-time favorites. I read it at least once a year. It has had a huge impact on how I try to view others who might be very different from me. A great little book on diversity and behaving like a human being, and also on the problems associated with nationalism. Good choice. Right? Although I usually enjoy with a half decent bottle of Merlot and a hot bubble bath. We appreciate that Sour Ale wasn't right up your alley, but
I could read this book with some Merlot.
next time, Merlot.
I could read this book in a
Thanks, Becky.
box with a fox.
I don't think. No.
I could read it anyway.
Josh,
I
your
haven't
favorite
taken a
part?
bath in like 20 years. You guys.
Gross.
I mean, I shower.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. My favorite part?
You don't soak your parts?
These parts are soaked.
I feel like we're coming back to the teabagging.
T-Bay! Let's talk more about T-Bay.
I'm sorry.
I know, I'm
You
sorry.
didn't know when you invited me here. I don't cross.
No, I have to steal. I have to steal that 81-day trek across the lake.
Okay. For me,
But it was kind of, I don't know why I made this connection, but it was like the 40 days in the desert that my good buddy Jesus went through.
is that a reference I should understand, or is that seriously his good buddy Jesus? No, are we talking about Jesus?
Yep.
Oh!
I just made that.
JC.
JC.
My boy JC.
Another good legend.
Sorry, I'm not up on my...
Did anyone else get that? I don't know. I feel like this is a very loose connection, but that's basically how my brain works.
He said loose.
No, tell me more about that, Josh.
About my dysfunctional brain? I don't know. It doesn't work very well.
To put it into perspective, I'm gonna open the book now.
All right.
So yeah, the 81 days you mentioned, and they were going to go. Let me find my tab on miles.
A lot of
Like
miles.
over 800 miles.
Yes.
They were going over 800 miles
That's
over
impressive.
the course of 81 days. Many times they talked about not actually making any forward progress,
Right.
but having to like go up some way and then realizing, oh no, we have to backtrack.
Yeah.
Crazy hard. And to be able to prepare for a trip like that, he
And
talks
they barely
about-
had enough food. Like they timed it
Right?
perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even train for a 5K. You know?
That's just like I haven't done anything near as crazy as that or any extreme journeying. The only thing that I have done is like, okay, I went on a bike camping trip. So you have a finite amount of gear that you can bring with you. Granted, we had, we're gonna pass through towns or you could get food if you wanted to. But imagine like having to prepare for an incredible, like you said, like couple months journey.
Mm.
You have to carry everything with you that you need. You have to be prepared for shit to happen. Like they talk about that scene where everything is gray. Like you can't tell the ground from the sky. It's so gray. And they come to a point where there's a cavern of some kind, and Estraven falls over the side. Remember that
Yeah, he almost was a goner.
Yeah. And luckily,
That's Raven.
Gimli had the sled and pulled him back up. But at that point, they were just like, "Oh wow, we cannot proceed in this kind of condition. We just can't." And how do you deal with something like that?
Persevere.
Strong, so strong.
Denial.
Ooh,
You just go to that motivation.
too. That's just it. You have to break through that fear barrier.
This ain't bad.
I just,
No big deal.
I just look at motivational videos on my phone. That's how I get through my day.
Estraven journals.
Extra Raven.
He likes to journal.
It
So
makes me think of Edgar Allan Poe. I'm just saying. Netherlands connection.
we recommend this book. Like I would tell people to read it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we
I
have
never
three.
even heard of it until
Yeah, me
you
neither.
name dropped this one on us.
My husband was all like, "Haha, you haven't heard of Ursula the Grand loser."
Oh
You
no.
call yourself literate.
Pretty much. Yeah. Actually,
Barely.
these were his words. She's famous.
She's a big deal.
She is a big deal. She is.
She was the first author to get both the Hugo and the Nebula awards for the
For
same
novels.
book
Yeah.
twice. She was Dispossessed and Left Hand Darkness.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
Killing it.
Nice.
Now she's like 85 and lives in like a. You posted that article. That was very interesting. I didn't know all that stuff until then. Fascinating lady.
You can find it on the Booze Book Baedeker Facebook page.
Indeed. Give it a like or two.
So what was your favorite part of the book, Christina?
I think probably the jail. Like everything had been pretty, you've got people in positions of power, influence. They sleep in nice bedrooms, they have nice meals, and then things get ugly. And I think when things get ugly and real, even though you're on this very, you have a purpose. Like you have a very high purpose, and you are really being kept down in a in a kind of a relatable way. I don't want to say relatable like, oh, I've been to jail, I totally get it. But do you know what I mean? Like you're with the commoners, you're with the hoi polloi and you got to get out of here and you really think you're not going to, but the foretellers told you were going to succeed on your mission, but maybe it wasn't you who was going to succeed. Maybe it's somebody else, and am I going to die here and this sucks? And then you get rescued by a guy in Dothstrip.
Well, I totally think Gimli gave up at some point. He totally did.
Absolutely.
Like he was ready to die.
Yeah.
Sad. But I mean, he still, of course, maybe he hadn't thought of it at the time. They don't mention that, but he still had that satisfaction of knowing that eventually someone would succeed.
Yeah.
If not him. I don't think that really occurred to him when he was in the prison. Oh, that sounded pretty bad.
Yeah.
He was pretty miserable.
Just trying to camera in his cell.
Is that code for a masturbate?
I don't know.
Like, what do you do? Anyways, you know what? Never mind. Never mind.
This whole time that you, cut that. But in all honesty, this whole
he had
time-
been on that planet a long time though, and he didn't talk about hooking up with somebody who
I'm
was
trying to think about prison
encountering-
politics in an
So-
androgynous society.
So I think that has to be code for masturbation, right? Because he never said he hooked up with anybody on that planet.
Just
he didn't.
hammering in his tent again.
Why is that, Josh?
Well, and he did at times like mention that someone was comely, which is such an interesting word. I think.
Comely?
Comely. I think it. I mean, it's synonymous with attractive. I know.
Nobody says it anymore because it has the word come in it.
That's why.
That's why.
Oh.
That's why. See, I don't,
And we haven't even
Does
gotten to this
All right.
bottle yet.
does comely mean attractive?
Yeah,
I
it
think
totally
it
does.
I thought it meant like.
I think it's
You know
Come-
that come hither look.
It's like common.
There you
I don't
go.
know.
There's the connection.
John Doe. John Doe's a comely guy. Because he looks like everyone. Never mind. All right, never mind.
Oh, what?
Like commonplace. Yeah, I
No, not true.
No,
not true.
No, wrong connection.
Let me just go to my dictionary app and I'll.
I just don't
This
think
is the
comely.
boring part of the
For
show
you.
where everybody looks at their phones.
We're gonna take
This
a
is
call.
the future.
Dial 555-5555. What do you think cuddly means?
Pleasant, agreeable, suitable,
Suitable.
pleasant to look at,
Pleasant.
attractive.
See? He doubted us.
He did. Well.
I don't understand the English language.
Oh, interesting. It
Yes.
says typically of a woman,
Yeah.
pleasant to look at or attractive. Interesting.
Left-handed darkness. Read it. Tell your friends to read it. Drink sour ale. And don't forget to read the next book called Ready Player One
Right.
by
God.
Ernest Klein.
I
Yeah.
read that
This is
one.
No
His
way!
first book. It's an amazing book. Slip into the oasis.
It is a fun book.
It's fun.
I enjoyed it.
You can tell that guy just hung out in his basement and played a bunch of video games in the 80s. Which, you know, that's fine.
Probably.
I can relate.
We make no judgments. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
That was just take one, right?
Yeah.